Sultan Barakat, Professor of Public Policy at Hamad bin Khalifa University in Qatar. Let's talk about diplomacy here, because there's an awful lot of danger here, right? Because Iran continues its attacks. It's listed these three calls for settlement, which is done before. So cash for the destruction, end to a permanent ceasefire, not ceasefire, but like a permanent settlement, and then, compensation for damage. Now, it's almost designed to be rejected, right?
It is, and I think it has been, in a way, brushed aside as irrelevant. The moment that was relevant, really, was when Iran called for joint investigation. I thought then, and I've written about this a couple of days ago in Al Jazeera, that we should maybe have taken that opportunity as a way to start a dialogue with the Iranians. Because we understand, and the whole world now knows, that Israel has, in fact, penetrated the whole region and is now operating from within Iran, its intelligence service. And they've been doing so ever since they started talking about the Abrahamic Accords and normalization. And from 2021, since the United States moved Israel into the central command rather than the European command. So they've had a lot of opportunities to instigate problems. And I think we should have taken Iran's word at face value then and say, okay, well, let's talk. And while we talk, no attacks on the Gulf states. That would have been one way forward. Now what I fear is happening is the Americans are moving their Marines closer to the Gulf. And they probably have in their sight a number of strategic islands in the Gulf. They will not attempt to invade the mainland of Iran, but those islands are strategic and are vulnerable. They started first by the Karkh Island, which is the oil terminal down the Gulf. Now I think the three problematic but also opportunistic for them are Abu Musa Island and the Tanb, the Greater Tanb and the Lesser Tanb. These three islands kind of channel the ships across to the Hormuz Strait, and they happen to be contested by the United Arab Emirates since 1971. They, in a way, reflect almost a copy of the creation of Israel. The British were about to withdraw from the region, and Iran jumped in 1971, occupied those islands. So they have a degree of legitimacy in terms of having an argument over them, where the Americans can buy in some support from the Gulf states, particularly the United Arab Emirates. And if they are now talking with other allies about the possibility of restoring the traffic in the Hormuz Strait, I think those islands are probably what they have in mind, that the Americans will try to occupy those islands and control the traffic.
But Sultan, isn't the problem here is the American appetite to actually do that? We're only hearing about, what, 5,000 troops absolute max to be able to do that now?
Well, these are very small islands, and I think the American...
Karkh Island is almost designed to be a military base. You park tankers next to it, so you can park a frigate next to it. It's quite large. What I'm suggesting is that, yes, this might be a good idea for the Americans, but the moment Americans are dying as a result of trying to occupy an island or the appetite disappears. This is what I'm asking you, is that the Americans have great ideas, but when they start losing soldiers, the war gets criticized at home, they kind of don't follow through. That's the danger, right?
Well, that's the danger if you think long term. But I think at the moment they've been pushed aside around by Israel, and they're following all these great ideas. And the hope is that by the time they occupy those islands, they would have reduced the ability of Iran to pose any threat to the islands themselves. They will not have the missiles, the ability to fly. There are no planes left, and so on and so on. So they are, I think, in that mood where by the time we get those, the Iranians won't be able to defend, but we will be in a position where we can bargain with the Arab states and everybody else around those islands. Now, if it works, we don't know, but at least from an Israeli perspective, we know that they're not going to contribute any soldiers to this, because they've already told the Americans we're pinned down in Lebanon, we're busy doing something else. It has to be American soldiers. And if the American soldiers, if this goes wrong and the American soldiers are killed, then I think you're right. I mean, there will be a real outrage in the United States that this is no longer just a special operation that we were promised was going to be sharp, short, and targeted. This is evolving into something much, much bigger.
Sultan, we'll talk more about this later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you're watching